I'm not gonna say anything. So this is the iridescent combo. The first part of this combo is by V Gaming once again, namely his Bloody Hell combo. The second part of this combo is by Maker T, like his latest combo called Vergil short combo. And the final part of this combo is also by Maker T, his Vergil combo 4 reboot. And I've been meaning to use this setup, like the Vergil combo 4 reboot finisher the Maker T did. I've been meaning to use that for such a long time, but I simply had no way to incorporate it into any combo. But I did it in 2022 or 2023. I had this video, I had the combo, not the whole combo, but that last setup with Yamato combo C and Yamato combo A, and it was in my scrapped combos folder. So yeah, this is my way of incorporating this setup into a combo. Now I'm going to keep it a $150. This is definitely one of the most difficult combos I've done in a while. And no, it's not because the combo itself is actually difficult. You know, with most of these combos, if not all of them, most of the issues you encounter are not mistakes per se, they're just, you know, game issues, like camera issues, the game not registering your commands, the doppelganger not reacting to your inputs, ghosting you. There's so many issues that are just inexplicable. But with this combo, almost all of them can be explained. It's just pure muscle memory. I seem to be allergic to combos, or well, setups, where the Doppelganger uses Yamato combo C and Vergil does another combo. Not only is this incredibly tedious to explain, but for some reason it is always so hard for me to do. It takes me so long to get accustomed, like, to get adjusted. I gotta learn the rhythm, I gotta learn the pattern, I gotta develop the muscle memory, and once I've developed it, I will be able to do it relatively consistently. See, this was the case with the sewer combo. In the sewer combo, the Doppelganger uses Yamato combo C, and he blows the enemy away towards Vergil, and Vergil hits the enemy with Mirage Edge combo B, this circular slash. In the Railway combo, the Doppelganger uses Yamato combo C, and Vergil uses Beowulf combo A, and he kicks the opponent away. And in this combo, the Doppelganger uses Yamato combo C, and Vergil uses SDT Yamato combo A. So whenever the Doppelganger is supposed to blow the enemy away towards Vergil, and Vergil's supposed to use another move, another combo, it is like so difficult for me for some reason. And the thing is, I analyzed Maker T's inputs. I analyzed what he was pressing and when, and I try to emulate it. I try to replicate it, but for some reason, I had a harder time with this combo than I did with the Railway combo and the sewer combo. Like with those combos, once I learned the muscle memory, once I developed it, I was able to pull it off relatively consistently. With this combo, I just kept making mistake after mistake after mistake. As a matter of fact, I did this combo successfully, but then I realized that it wasn't really all that successful. Upon closer inspection, you'll notice how in the original combo that I uploaded, the Doppelganger kind of, there's not a lot of knockback. We'll talk about it, alright? So, 90% of the issues I encountered with this combo came from that final part. I mean, look, I've experienced a ton, and I mean a ton, of issues during the first part of the combo as well. But that was mostly on me. I mean, it was also on me during the final part, but you get the point. Anyway, because of this, I think that I'm going to be analyzing this combo in a somewhat unorthodox way. So you know how I usually analyze the entire combo, and then I have a section dedicated to all the issues you can encounter, all the mistakes you can make? Well, with this combo, I'm going to analyze the first part of the combo first. Then I'm going to talk about all the mistakes you can run into during this first part of the combo. Then I will analyze the second part of the combo, and then I will talk about all the issues you can encounter and all the mistakes you can make during the second part of the combo. I feel like that's simply more intuitive, and I think that's exactly what I did with the Pit combo and the Heaven combo. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm not sure. I can't really remember. It was a long time ago. But, yeah, this has been a really long intro, so, yeah, let's start analyzing the combo. Bro, I just noticed that, like, the last three combos have had the same exact startup. Like, the Spiral combo, the Sky combo, now this combo. So, you know how Rising Star basically has two slashes? The first slash launches the enemy slightly into the air, but the second slash launches the enemy even higher up into the air. So, you want to use the first slash of Rising Star and cancel it by using Trig Down. So you press right and you hold the attack button, and after you've launched the enemy into the air with the first slash of Rising Star, you use Trig Down to teleport to the ground, and then you use Rapid Slash with the Yamato. After this, you immediately use Air Trick to teleport to the enemy. Now you let it go of the lock-on, and you use Trick Up to basically, well, propel yourself into the air, like higher into the air. Now you switch to the Mirage Edge and you use Air Stinger, which is left plus attack button. But while using Air Stinger, you make sure to throw 3 Mirage Blades at the enemy. So that's really important. You want to keep the enemy airborne. You can also throw 2 Mirage Blades at the enemy, but I think this is kind of like ideal. So while using Air Stinger, you throw these 3 Mirage Blades at the enemy to keep them airborne, and now you keep mashing the taunt button, and eventually you will use Vergil's Air Taunt, where he throws these 3 Mirage Blades at the enemy. And he will basically throw them at the enemy, and the enemy will get launched into the air. At this point, feel free to keep mashing the attack button, and Vergil will use Helmbreaker, because Helmbreaker is just pressing the attack button once while you're in midair with the Mirage Edge. And, you know, you can basically mash the attack button during the taunt and after it, and Vergil will eventually use Helmbreaker. Now, you wait just a little bit. Well, not a little bit. It really depends. We'll talk about it, but you gotta wait. Sometimes you gotta wait longer, sometimes not. It really depends. But now you use Million Stab, which is right plus holding the attack button. Now you switch to the Yamato and you use upper slash 2 to launch the enemy into the air. And now you immediately summon the haste version of the Doppelganger, the one who is in sync with you and mimics all of your commands immediately. So you summon this version of the Doppelganger and you switch to Beowulf, alright? And now, when the Doppelganger has been summoned, you immediately use Starfall, but you press the left plus attack button, alright? Now, why am I saying this? Okay, so, Vergil will use Starfall, but the Doppelganger will use Aerial Cleave. Now, why is that? Okay, so, Starfall is just pressing the attack button in the air once, alright? So you just press the attack button. But, if you do that, Vergil's Doppelganger will mimic your commands, and he will just use 1 slash with Aerial Rave. Keep in mind, Vergil's Doppelganger can only use the Yamato, and he copies your inputs. If you press the attack button once with Beowulf in the air, that is Starfall. But for the Doppelganger, who can use the Yamato, and only the Yamato, and who is in the air, pressing the attack button once with the Yamato in the air is 1 slash of Aerial Rave. So, how do you circumvent this? It's very simple. Instead of pressing the attack button, you simply press left plus attack button. Now, you know, this will still cause Vergil to use Starfall. There will be 0 changes there, but this will cause the Doppelganger to use Aerial Cleave. Now, why is that? It's very simple. When you're on the left side, in midair, with the Yamato, pressing the left plus attack button is Aerial Cleave, alright? And that's what you want the Doppelganger to do. That is why you gotta press the left plus attack button while using Starfall and not just the attack button. Alright, so to recap, you summon the haste version of the Doppelganger, you switch to Beowulf, and you press the left plus attack button. Vergil uses Starfall, the Doppelganger uses Aerial Cleave. Now, when you hit the ground, you switch back to the Yamato, and you immediately use Rapid Slash, which is the left plus attack button. Now you slash through the enemy, making sure that they start tweaking like this, and you immediately input a Void Slash, which is the left plus right plus attack button when you're on the left side on the ground. So this will cause the Doppelganger to use Void Slash. Vergil will not react to any of these commands because, as you guys already know, when Vergil is sheathing his sword, especially after Rapid Slash, he does not react to melee commands, but the Doppelganger does. So the Doppelganger will react to you pressing left-right attack button, and he will use Void Slash to catch the enemy in midair. Alright? At this point, you immediately deactivate the Doppelganger, and now you wait just a little bit. I'll explain why. And now you resummon the haste version of the Doppelganger, the same version. Alright, so you call the Doppelganger now, and at this point, before the Doppelganger is even fully formed, while he is still a blur, you immediately use Rapid Slash with the Yamato. So before the Doppelganger is fully formed, you gotta cancel it. If you wait for the Doppelganger to form fully, he will use Rapid Slash with you. He'll use it in tandem. So you don't want that. You want the Doppelganger to stay back. Alright? So now that you've used Rapid Slash, you make sure to immediately use the Heavy Rain Blades, which is back plus forward plus Mirage Blade button, and you go into your Sin DT. Alright? That is very important. And that is kind of like the end of the first part of this combo. I actually started analyzing a little bit of the second part as well, but it doesn't really matter. So now let's talk about all of the mistakes you can make and all the problems you can encounter during the first part of the combo. So the first problem you can encounter is the air taunt not connecting. Now, this rarely ever happens, but, it can happen. In most of these instances, it happened because I was using the blistering blades instead of just throwing regular Mirage blades at the enemy. So, you can ignore that, but it can still happen. It's just not that frequent. Alright, so this mistake is incredibly frequent, and I don't even know why or how, but sometimes, well, no, not sometimes, a lot, I would often use Million Stab way too early. Like I said, after Homebreaker, you're supposed to wait. Not a little, not a lot. You gotta wait the perfect amount and then use Million Stab. Otherwise, the enemy will, just see for yourself. You won't hit them properly, they will be above you, and as a result, their altitude will be higher. So when you launch them into the air with upper slash and you summon the Doppelganger, a lot of issues can transpire, and we'll talk about that later. So this is definitely a very frequent issue, but it's timing related. It depends solely on you. Conversely, though, you can also end up using Million Stab way too late, which is less frequent, but by some margin, but it's still pretty frequent, alright? It's still an incredibly annoying mistake that you can make. This happens if you wait too long before using Million Stab, obviously. So, yeah. Okay, so now let's move on to the Doppelganger segment. Okay, so here you can see how the Doppelganger simply does not react to me using aerial cleave. And I think that 9 times out of 10, this happens if you wait too long to use the whole Starfall thing. Like, if you call the Doppelganger, you summon the Doppelganger, and you wait a second or a second and a half before using Starfall / aerial cleave, yeah, there is a high chance that the Doppelganger will simply not react. He'll just drop to the ground like this. So make sure to use Starfall, or press the left plus attack button immediately after summoning the Doppelganger. Almost immediately. Maybe not immediately, but this is definitely something can happen, but I wouldn't say this was a very frequent mistake. Alright, so this is a somewhat frequent issue. Not too frequent, but it did happen. Alright, it did happen. So, here you can see how the Doppelganger's aerial cleave doesn't cause the enemy to bounce back up into the air. And as you guys already know, aerial cleave is an attack that basically, when you use it, Vergil, pins the enemy to the ground, and then the enemy bounces back into the air. However, and we discussed this with the pit combo and a lot of other combos, but sometimes when the enemy is at a higher altitude compared to Vergil, and you try to use aerial cleave, one of two things might happen. One of the things that can happen is Vergil simply uses aerial cleave without pinning the enemy to the ground, or Vergil does end up pinning the enemy to the ground, but there's no bounce up effect, alright? So why does this happen in all these instances? Now, not in all of these instances, but in most of these instances, this happened because I decided to continue the combo despite having used Million Stab early. So as you can see here, I use Million Stab way too early. The enemy is at a higher altitude than Vergil, and when I launch them into the air with upper slash and I, call the Doppelganger, you can see how the enemy is higher than the Doppelganger. Like, he's at a higher altitude. And when I input aerial cleave, the Doppelganger basically pins the enemy to the ground, but there's no bounce up effect. And because of this, slashing through the enemy with rapid slash just doesn't do anything because the enemy is on the ground and you want the enemy to be in midair when you do this part of the combo. So yeah, this is definitely something that can happen, and like I said, it's not too frequent, but I'd also, it can happen. All right, it can happen. All right, so this is an incredibly, possibly one of the most, this is probably the most frequent issue you can encounter in this combo during the first part of the combo, and that is the Doppelganger uses Void Slash too early, the enemy is way too high up in the air, so what ends up happening is, well, basically, the Doppelganger fails to catch the enemy with Void Slash. And, alright, let me explain this, let me elaborate. So, I told you how aerial cleave has this bounce-up effect, where when you pin the enemy to the ground, they bounce back into the air. So, see, what happens here is, in most of these, well, not really, but in this case in particular, I used Rapid Slash way too late, so I didn't use it fast enough, and the enemy bounced up into the air, and they were at a very high altitude. I should have slashed through the enemy with Rapid Slash before they could bounce so high up into the air, if you know what I'm trying to say. So I should have used Rapid Slash faster, earlier. See, Rapid Slash, the way it works, and I discussed this in my spiral combo analysis, it basically causes the enemy to start tweaking like this. Like, like those anime moves where there are like these delayed slashes. I, brought up Giyu's Dedicom from Demon Slayer and all that. So this move, like Rapid Slash, is actually very good for keeping enemies airborne, and that is exactly what happens here. However, you're supposed to slash through the enemy before they fully bounce. You don't want their altitude to be that high when you slash through them. In some cases, you won't be able to slash through them in the first place because they will be that high up, and Rapid Slash will just go right underneath them. But in these cases, for the most part, they are way too high up in the air when I Rapid Slash. But sometimes it's not about me using Rapid Slash too late. Sometimes I use Rapid Slash immediately, or almost immediately, and it still fails. It still fails. I use it, and the enemy is simply way too high up in the air. And this is one thing that can definitely happen. It is the most frequent issue for me that you can encounter during the first part of the combo. And, yeah, I don't know what to say. One way to circumvent this would be to wait a little. So, don't input Void Slash immediately with the Doppelganger. Just wait a little. As a matter of fact, I think that in my original upload, not my original upload, but my latest upload, my official successful attempt, I kind of waited for the Doppelganger. I kind of waited before inputting Void Slash. That is one way to circumvent this. So if you have this feeling that Void Slash will miss, that it won't connect, make sure not to input it immediately. Wait a little, wait for the enemy to lose some altitude, to stop tweaking, and then you're free to input Void Slash. Just make sure that Vergil is still sheathing his sword, otherwise he will react as well. But yeah, this is definitely a very frequent issue, and yeah, not sure what else to say. Alright, so now we got another problem, and that problem is the Doppelganger ends up using one hit of Yamato Combo A instead of Void Slash. So like I said, Void Slash, when you're on the left side on the ground, is left plus right plus attack button. But in all these instances, I press left plus right plus attack button, and instead of Void Slash, the Doppelganger simply ends up using one hit of Yamato Combo A. So he does not react to me pressing left plus right, he just reacts to me pressing the attack button. And this is probably an issue with the camera, with the game, or it's just me not inputting things fast enough, or maybe inputting them too fast, but I'm inclined to say that this is a game issue, honestly. I don't really know. And sometimes the Doppelganger will use Rapid Slash instead of Void Slash, meaning that he reacted to me pressing right plus attack button, but not left plus right plus attack button. Yeah, that also happens, not nearly as frequently as him using the first hit of Yamato Combo A, but still, it can definitely happen. And finally, this is one thing that I mentioned in the analysis, but make sure that when you deactivate the Doppelganger, make sure not to summon him way too fast. Because what's going to happen if you do that is Vergil will face backwards, and when you use Rapid Slash to cut through the enemy, Vergil and the Doppelganger will be kind of misaligned. They won't be properly aligned, and this will cause a lot of issues for the final part of the combo. So just wait a little, or you can do what my friend did and just not deactivate the Doppelganger at all. You can simply just call him back to your position and then use Rapid Slash. You can save yourself some time this way, but if you do that, there's really no reason to even use Void Slash with the Doppelganger in the first place. And that's kind of what makes this combo cool. So, yeah. And that's about all I can say regarding the first part of the combo and all of the issues you can encounter while attempting it. Now let's finally start analyzing the second part of the combo. So like I said, you summon the haste version of the Doppelganger, and you immediately use Rapid Slash before the Doppelganger has been fully formed, while he's still a blur. And while using Rapid Slash, or even while summoning the Doppelganger, you press and hold your Sin double trigger button to start charging your Sin DT, and then you slash through the enemy with Rapid Slash, and while slashing through the enemy, like once you slash through the enemy, you use the Heavy Rain Blades to freeze the enemy in midair, which is back plus forward plus Mirage Blade button. And at this point, you let go of your Sin DT button and you go into your Sin DT. At this point, you release the lock-on and you keep holding down or back. In my case, I press S on my keyboard. If you're playing on the controller, you hold down your analog stick. So you let go of the lock-on, you hold, and you keep holding back, you keep holding down. You want Vergil to face the camera. And whatever you do for the rest of the combo, make sure that you keep holding down. You let go of the lock-on and you keep holding down. You only lock on again when it's time for Vergil to use the final hit of Yamato Combo A. Alright, this is very important. This is how it was with the sewer combo and with most of these types of combos. So you just let go of the lock-on and you keep holding back. You keep holding down. Hold down your analog stick, and Vergil will face the camera, and when it's time to finally end the combo, that is when you lock on once again. This is very important. Okay, so one more thing before I actually start analyzing the most grueling part of this combo. I feel the need to talk about SDT Yamato Combo A and Yamato Combo C. So SDT Yamato Combo A is just mashing the attack button like a maniac, and Vergil will blow the enemy away with this final, this ginormous slash, and it looks really cool and it feels really impactful. However, one thing that I feel is kind of noteworthy here is that, you see these three slashes, these last three slashes? Yeah, well, the first two slashes are actually one hit. They are one press of the attack button. So you press the melee button once, and these two hits will come out, and you can just press it one more time to use the final slash, alright? I feel that's kind of worth noting. As for Yamato Combo C, this combo is just pressing the attack button 4 to 5 times, then making a small pause, a very short pause, and then proceeding to mash the attack button like a maniac, and Vergil will use the slash barrage, and he will eventually blow the enemy away. Now, I say this every time I bring up Yamato Combo C, but Yamato Combo C doesn't have to be mashing the attack button 4 times or 5 times. You can mash it even 8 times, believe it or not. And the reason I'm saying this is count the number of hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then pause, and then you get the slash barrage. So all that matters is that you stop mashing after you see the 4th hit. The first 2 hits of Yamato Combo C are basically Vergil hitting the enemy with the sheath of his sword, and then the second 2 hits, the other 2 hits, are him unsheathing his sword and slashing the enemy. The thing is, the first 4 hits of Yamato Combo C and Yamato Combo A are completely identical. The only difference between Yamato Combo A and Yamato Combo C is the Yamato Combo C requires you to make the short pause after the 4th slash. It doesn't matter how many times you mash the attack button before you reach the sport slash, all that matters is that you stop mashing once you see it come out. Alright? So usually I press the attack button 5 times, sometimes 6 times, sometimes 4 times. It really depends. It's not set in stone, is what I'm trying to say. So don't focus on the number of hits. Listen, why am I even talking about this? If you don't know how to do Yamato Combo C, just stop watching the video, bro. One thing that I didn't say, though. See, Yamato Combo C doesn't necessarily require you to mash the attack button like a maniac. See, this slash barrage lasts longer the more you mash. But if you stop mashing, like if you stop mashing early, the barrage will end early. So the length of this flurry of slashes depends on the amount of times you mash the attack button. If you mash it like a maniac, it'll last like 3 seconds. If you stop mashing immediately, you won't even be able to see it. And if you mash, like 2 to 3 to 4 times, it will end early. Not too early, but still early. And that is exactly what you want for this combo. See, in the sewer combo, you wanted the Doppelganger to use the full Yamato Combo C. You wanted to mash like a maniac. You wanted the Doppelganger to use this long flurry of slashes before blowing the enemy away. With this combo, you'll notice that the Doppelganger finishes the barrage, he finishes Yamato Combo C almost as soon as it comes out. Almost as soon as you start seeing the slashes, they end. This is because in this combo, you do not want to mash the attack button. You want to press it like twice. 3 times tops, alright? That is very important. But you also don't want to press it just once, alright? So I will discuss all of this later. Believe me, there's a lot to unpack here. Explaining this is way more difficult than actually doing it, because while attempting the combo, after constant trial and error, you will eventually develop the muscle memory. You will find a pattern, and you'll be able to do it relatively consistently. But explaining it is way more cumbersome. Now, one thing that I really gotta say here before I actually start analyzing it. I know I keep delaying it. I swear I'll try to be as fast as possible. So, don't pay attention to the number of hits I make. So, don't pay attention to the amount of times I press the attack button. That is irrelevant, because we've already established that Yamato Combo A has like 4 slashes, and then you have these other 3 slashes, the final 3. But you can mash the attack button 20 times, before you get to the 4th hit. It doesn't matter. We've already established this. For this reason, you shouldn't focus on the amount of times I press the attack button, but rather on Vergil and the Doppelganger themselves, alright? You look at Vergil. That is the most important part here. Oh, and one more thing. SDT Yamato Combo A, we've already established, it has 7 hits. So you have the normal 4 slashes, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you have these final, like these 3 big slashes. That's how I'm going to be calling them. I'm going to be referring to them as the 3 big slashes. you know, the first big slash, the second big slash, the final slash. So yeah, just to clear up any confusion, basically. So once you've cut through the enemy with rapid slash, once you've gone into your Sin DT, right, you got to go into your Sin DT, you let go of the lock-on and you keep holding down. And now, you want to use Yamato Combo A. So, let's look at this example, this successful attempt I make. Don't pay attention to my mouse and the amount of times I press the attack button. Instead, focus only on Vergil and him making these slashes with the Yamato, and at which point I change the Doppelganger's mode. So, 1, 2, 3, and now 4, and during the 4th hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow. After this, immediately after changing his mode, I press the attack button 1, 2 more times, and then I make a pause. And then after this second big slash comes out, like he does these 2 big slashes, and as soon as the second slash comes out, I press the attack button 3 more times, and that's it. That's basically how I did it here. Of course, make sure to lock back on during, like, for that final slash. Like, make sure you press the lock on, otherwise Vergil will face the camera, you know, and you don't want that. I mean, it's possible. My friend did it like that, and it was perfectly successful, but it's better this way, alright? So you've probably noticed how I actually ended up changing the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow. And you might be wondering why that is, and it's very simple. You want to change the Doppelganger's mode because you don't want the Doppelganger to do Yamato Combo A with you. The haste version of the Doppelganger reacts to your commands immediately, so if you do Yamato Combo A and you don't change the Doppelganger's mode, the Doppelganger will do Yamato Combo A with you. However, if you change the Doppelganger's mode too early, the same thing will happen. The Doppelganger will use Yamato Combo A with you. And if you change his mode too late, the exact same thing will happen. The Doppelganger will basically use Yamato Combo A with Vergil, and you don't want that. So you gotta have this perfect timing, but believe me, it's really not that strict, and this is why I keep telling you, pay attention to Vergil, and not the amount of times I press the attack button. The timing for this is kind of inconsistent, and you shouldn't really worry about it because it's not set in stone. I myself don't exactly know when I do it. There are a lot of different patterns, a lot of different variables. In this particular example that we just finished analyzing, I changed the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow during that 4th slash of Yamato Combo A. So when Vergil does the 4th slash of Yamato Combo A, that's when I change the Doppelganger's mode. But it's not always like that. Sometimes I change the mode during the 4th slash, sometimes I do it before starting the 4th slash, and sometimes I do it well after Vergil is done with the 4th slash of Yamato Combo A. Notice how I'm saying slashes. I'm not talking about the hits, I'm talking about the slashes the Vergil makes. But if we're gonna look at my mouse button, like the amount of times I press the attack button, usually I change the Doppelganger's mode after pressing the attack button 5 times or 6 times. That is the norm, always. Like, look at all these patterns, like, every single time. In this particular example that we just finished analyzing, I changed the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow after pressing the attack button 6 times. Alright? But don't pay attention to the attack button. I already said this. Pay attention to Vergil and the amount of slashes he makes with Yamato Combo C. Let's look at another successful attempt and analyze it. So 1, 2, 3... and just before starting the 4th hit, I change the mode, and I press the attack button 1 time, just 1 time, and I make a pause. Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and during the second big slash, I press the attack button 3 more times, or well, 4 more times, doesn't really matter, and the combo works. So in this case, I basically changed the Doppelganger's mode before starting the fourth hit, like with the Yamato, right? That's when I did it. And then I pressed the attack button only one more time. This caused Vergil to use the 2 slashes of Yamato, like the 2 big slashes of Yamato combo A, and then during the second big slash, I resumed pressing the attack button. And that was it. Alright, moving on. Another example. 1, 2, 3, and like before even starting the third hit, the third slash, I changed the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow, and I press the attack button 1, 2, 3 more times, and I make a pause. Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and after the second big slash, I press the attack button 2 more times, and I basically finish the combo. Alright, more examples. 1, 2, 3, and before starting the fourth hit, I changed the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow, and now I press the attack button 1, 2, 3 more times. Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and I make a pause. After this second big slash, I press the attack button 2 more times, and I end up doing the combo successfully. Alright, so again, you've probably noticed this pattern. So basically, when Vergil does these 3 big slashes, or well, the first 2 big slashes, at that point, you let go of the attack button. You make a pause, basically. That is very important. But it's not always the case, and we'll talk about that later. Okay, so moving on, more examples. So here, it's 1, 2, 3, and like, after the third, before starting the fourth hit, I changed the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow, and I press the attack button one more time. Just one more time. This causes Vergil to use the first and second big slash of Yamato combo A, and I'm making a pause. I let go of the attack button, as you can see. And now, after the second big slash, I press the attack button twice, and I finish the combo perfectly. Alright, so these are kind of, like I said, you've probably noticed a pattern. And this is why it's so important, that one thing that I mentioned earlier in the video, Yamato combo A, like SDT Yamato combo A, it has these last 3 big slashes, right? And the first 2 slashes are only one press of the attack button. You don't have to press the attack button twice or mash it. You just press the attack button once. And Vergil does these 2 big slashes. And as soon as you see them, you let go of the attack button, you make a pause, and after the second slash, right? After the second slash, or during the second big slash, you press the attack button 1 more time, or 2 more times, or 3 more times, or 4 more times. It really doesn't matter. What matters is making a pause as soon as you see the first big slash. And then when the second big slash is done, you press the attack button again 2 to 3 more times, right? That's very important. It's also kind of important, like, the pattern here is a little inconsistent because I don't change the Doppelganger's mode at the same time. In the first example, it was during the fourth hit. In the second example, it was before starting the fourth hit. In the third example, it was before the third hit. In the next example, it was before the fourth hit. Then it was once again before starting the fourth hit. So it's in that ballpark, you know, either before the fourth hit, or during the fourth hit, or after the third hit, sometimes even before the third hit, and sometimes, as we'll see, even after the fourth hit. So this is why I absolutely despise explaining this, like these kinds of things, because it's never consistent, right? Even this pattern that we've just established is not consistent, as we'll see right now. So this example is a little weird, but still relatively consistent. So in this example, look at Vergil. So let's look at it. 1, 2, 3, and during the third hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode, and I press the attack button 1, 2, 3 more times, and now I let go of the attack button. Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and after the second big slash, I resume pressing the attack button, and I press it only 1 more time. and it ends up working. So in this example, it's kind of the same. The only difference is you'll notice how after changing the Doppelganger's mode during the third hit, what I did was I pressed the attack button 1, 2, and then I made a small pause before pressing the third, like pressing the attack button a third time, right? So this is kind of a little weird, but what matters is I stopped pressing the attack button as soon as the first big slash came out, and I only resumed mashing it after, well, the second big slash was done, and that was it. So like I said, a little weird, but still consistent with the pattern we've established so far. Alright, another somewhat consistent but weird example. So, look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and after the fourth hit, I changed Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow, right? And now I press the attack button only one more time. And now I let go of the attack button. Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and during the second big slash, I press the attack button 3 times. And that's basically it. So again, a little inconsistent because I only pressed the attack button once after changing the Doppelganger's mode. Usually you want to press it twice or sometimes thrice, but this time I only pressed the attack button once, as long as the first big slash comes out. That's really important. The moment you see that, you let go of the attack button, okay? So, alright. Another weird example, but still relatively consistent. Look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and during the fourth hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow, and once again, after changing the mode, I only press the attack button once, and Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and during the second big slash, I resume mashing the attack button, and I press it 3 more times. I don't mash it, I press it 3 times, alright? So, yeah, same as before, basically. Alright, let's look at this example. So, look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and after the fourth slash with the Yamato, I change the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow, and now I press the attack button only one more time, and I let go of the attack button, just like before. And now Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and during the second big slash, I press the attack button 3 more times, and Vergil finishes the combo. In these last 3 examples, it's like the same exact pattern. I change the Doppelganger's mode either after the fourth hit, or during the fourth hit, or before starting the fourth hit, and I mash the attack button like 6 times. After Vergil does that fourth slash with the Yamato, I only press the attack button one more time, which causes those 2 big slashes to come out. At that point, I let go of the attack button, and when the second big slash appears, I press the attack button 3 more times, and I finish the combo. So, this is a somewhat different, it's a different pattern, but it's still consistent. And yeah, but now we have more patterns that are way more inconsistent than anything we've encountered so far. So pay very close attention to this one, alright? So, let's look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3, and during the third hit, as soon as I started, I changed Doppelganger's mode, and now I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and then I stop mashing the attack button. And I do the combo perfectly. So what gives? We've literally established that the key here is to let go of the attack button the moment you see the first big slash, like the 5th slash of Yamato Combo A. As soon as you see the first of the 3 big slashes, you let go of the attack button, even before you see it actually. You let go of the attack button, and after the second big slash, or during it, you resume pressing the attack button. But here, I don't stop at all. I keep mashing like a maniac. I don't make any pause whatsoever, and I still ended up doing it properly. Maybe it's because I stopped mashing the attack button after, the second slash came out? Maybe that's why? I really couldn't tell you. Maybe it has to do with when I changed the Doppelganger's mode, but I changed the Doppelganger's mode while starting the third hit, and that's not that unusual. It's a little earlier than usual, but it's still not that weird. And now we have another example that is, well, very similar. So here, let's look at Vergil. So, 1, 2, 3, and like during the third hit, before starting the fourth hit, I changed the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow, and I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, and I do the combo perfectly. This is the same as before, except I press the attack button 5 times instead of 6 times. But you'll notice how, I didn't stop mashing the attack button even though Vergil did those 2 big slashes of Yamato Combo A. So, I don't know how to explain this. Maybe it's got to do with the fact that I changed the Doppelganger's mode earlier than usual, but that can't be it. Well, whatever, okay? Doesn't really matter. Let's look at some more examples, because there is yet another pattern that I've noticed. So, look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and like before starting the fourth hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode, and now I press the attack button 1, 2 times, I make a small pause, and then I press it 2 more times, and then I basically finish the combo. Alright, so what exactly happened here? Let's look at this again. Alright, so I change the Doppelganger's mode, I press the attack button 1, 2 more times, Vergil does the first big slash, and I make a pause for some reason. And then I press the attack button 2 more times, and even though Vergil is doing the second, oh man, I don't know, but this can definitely happen, and it's consistent. And here we have yet another example, which is the exact same. Look at this. So, let's look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and during the fourth hit, like just as I'm starting it, like during the fourth hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode, and I press the attack button 1, 2, make a small pause, and then 1, 2, and I slash through the enemy. Same as before. It's the exact same thing. I change the Doppelganger's mode and I press the attack button twice. I make a pause. Vergil does the first big slash, and then during the second big slash, I press the attack button twice. And it works perfectly. Alright, yet another example, which is the exact frickin' same. So, let's look at this. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and during the fourth hit, I change the mode, and I press the attack button 1, 2, Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, I made a pause, by the way, and now I press the attack button 2 more times once again. So 2, small pause, plus 2. I don't understand how this works. And we have yet another example, same exact thing. So, look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3, 4, and after the fourth hit with the Yamato Combo A, I change the mode and I press the attack button 1, 2, I make a small pause, Vergil does the first slash, the second big slash, and I press the attack button twice, once again, and I finish the combo. Do with all of this as you will. I don't know. I really don't know what to tell you. There are so many different patterns that I can't exactly, tell you what to do anymore. And this is exactly why explaining this combo is anguish, and this is just the tip of the iceberg, because we have yet to talk about the mistakes you can make while attempting this combo, alright? And I'm not going to be going as in-depth because I want to, keep my sanity, or what's left of it, but we'll kind of breeze through the whole thing. But if you really think that this has something to do with the amount of times you press the attack button, then you're welcome to look at that. You can check my mouse, you can see how many times I press the attack button, right? And when I make the pause, usually I press the attack button 5 or 6 times. I made a text document, and you can see how usually I press the attack button either 5 or 6 times before changing the Doppelganger's mode. Then I press the attack button 2 to 3 more times, and then I make a pause. When that hit, like that big slash of Yamato combo A comes out, I stop, I make a pause, and during the second big slash, I resume mashing. Right? I press the attack button 3 more times. You have the patterns here. If you don't want to pay attention to Vergil, you can pay attention to my mouse and how many times I press the melee button, or, well, the attack button. Because, like I said, usually it's like I press it 6 times, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I change the Doppelganger's mode, I press the attack button 2 more times, I make a pause, during the second big slash, I press the attack button 2 to 3 more times. Or I press it 5 times. You know, like 5 times, I change the mode, and I press the attack button 2 to 3 more times, pause. You know what? I'm just going to leave you with this compilation of all of these patterns and instances, and you can just check that out, honestly. There are even more inconsistencies, but like I said, I'm not going to be delving into all of that, so yeah. And that is the end of the second part of the combo, and I hope you're not confused. I don't blame you one bit if you are. I won't hold it against you because I'm also confused. Like I said, I can do this relatively consistently, but I am not able to do it with perfect consistency. I still make some mistakes. And there are 3 to 4 main mistakes, 5 main mistakes that you can make, but 2 of them definitely stick out as the most frequent issues you can encounter in this whole combo, right? So, I don't know, maybe I should start with the less the least horrible issues, all right? So, one of the things that can happen is sometimes Vergil will use Yamato combo C instead of Yamato combo A. And honestly, this happens when the pause you make is just too perfect. It's not too short, it's not too long, and Vergil will end up using Yamato combo C, because Yamato combo C is after those first 4 slashes, you make a pause, and then you resume mashing. This is why it's so important to press the attack button 2 more times, usually, or even 3 more times, after changing the Doppelganger's mode. Because in all of these instances where Vergil ends up using Yamato combo C alongside the Doppelganger, I notice that what ends up happening is I make a pause immediately after the 4th hit of Yamato combo A. Like, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I make a pause. And then I resume mashing. I should have pressed the attack button 1 to 2 to 3 more times so the Vergil could do those 2 big slashes of Yamato combo A. But I didn't. I made this pause right after the 4th hit. Let's look at this other example, alright? It's the same thing, believe me. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and immediately after the 4th hit, I stop mashing the attack button. But sometimes it's BS, bro. Look at this. So, look at Vergil. 1 hit, 2 hits, 3, 4, and this was a pause? Really? The game registered this as a pause? I pressed the attack button normally, yet I'm mashing the attack button. Let's look at this again. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How was that a pause? How the fuck was that a pause, bro? I mashed the attack button like a maniac. The pause you need to make for Yamato combo C doesn't have to be, it's not that short. Like, what gives? Alright, let's look at more examples. Alright, so here, 1, 2, 3, 4, bro, how is this a pause? How is this a pause? I was literally mashing the attack button like a maniac. I didn't make any pause. Look at this example. Look! Like, I'm not... Do you see any pause here? This was a pause? Really? This was a pause. Bro, when I want to use Yamato Combo C, the game does Yamato Combo A. But now, when I want to use Yamato Combo A, it does Yamato Combo C. Look at all of these examples. How is this a pause? I mean, I can see it being 0.001 milliseconds longer than usual, but I don't understand. I don't understand. So I guess that you really gotta press the attack button fast. You really gotta mash the attack button. But then you run the risk of other things that we'll get into, but this is definitely something that can happen. And I will say, this is a frequent issue. This is a frequent issue, but not nearly as frequent as the things that I'm about to mention. Alright, so this is another issue that is kind of frequent, and it used to be more frequent. Now, for some reason, it doesn't happen as much. I guess I've mastered my muscle memory or something, but this was definitely very frequent. So, Vergil and the Doppelganger both end up using Yamato Combo A. Now, I said how this can happen when you don't change the Doppelganger's mode, or you change the mode too early or too late, you know, but I think there's another factor that I'm not accounting for, and I don't know what it is. This is why I hate explaining these types of things, because they're pure instinct. You gotta have a feeling for it, the timing, and it almost feels completely arbitrary, like it's RNG. But as you can see here, let's analyze the first example. Okay, so let's look at how many times, like 1, 2, 3, 4, and before the fourth hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode. And now I press the attack button 1, 2, 3 more times, but it doesn't matter how many times I press the attack button, the Doppelganger already started using Yamato Combo A. Now, I don't know if this is because I should have made a pause, maybe? No, that can't be it. Maybe I pressed the attack button one too many times. Maybe I changed the mode too early or too late, but no, we've already had instances where I changed the Doppelganger's mode like this, but it... Alright, next example. Okay, so let's look at this. Okay, so 1, 2, 3... Okay, yeah, here I was too early. Before the third hit, way before the third hit, I changed the Doppelganger's mode, and as a result, you know, when I was mashing, he did Yamato... Okay, I get this, alright? So let's look at this. 1, 2... 3. Okay, after the third hit, before the fourth hit, I changed the mode. I pressed the attack button 3 more times, and the Doppelganger does Yamato Combo A. I don't know. You look at my mouse. Look at Vergil. It doesn't matter if you're looking at the amount of times I press the attack button, or if you're looking at when I change the mode. You'll notice that the Doppelganger always does Yamato Combo A in all of these instances. And, you know what? I'm not even going to bother analyzing this anymore because I really want to save my voice. Alright, sometimes it's my fault. I'm too early when I change the mode, but sometimes I can't explain it. So, moving on. So now we got this issue. And this issue is the last hit, the final slash of Yamato Combo A, doesn't come out because, well, Vergil resets the combo. Now, why does this happen? It happens because I make too long of a pause between those two big slashes and the final slash. Either because I miscalculated or because I was scared of another issue occurring. And that issue that I was afraid of is the most frequent issue in the combo, which we'll get to. Yeah, stay tuned. But let's analyze some of these examples. Alright, so let's look at Vergil, or well, don't look at my attack button, my mouse, it doesn't matter. So, I'm mashing the attack button, I'm mashing it, Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and I stop mashing the attack button. And because I stopped mashing the attack button too early, Vergil didn't use the final slash of Yamato Combo A. Alright, next example. I'm mashing the attack button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash. I stop mashing the attack button, and I take too long before pressing the attack button again. I made a pause that was too big. So that's what happened. Moving on. So here you can see, I'm mashing the attack button. The first big slash comes out, the second big slash comes out, and I stop mashing. And the final slash doesn't come out. And let's analyze one more example. I'm mashing the attack button, basically. First big slash, second big slash, I stop mashing, and as a result, Vergil doesn't use the final hit of Yamato Combo A, or well, SDT Yamato Combo A. This is all of these mistakes, all these issues are frequent, all right? But some are less frequent than others, all right? So I said how the reason I would stop mashing the attack button after the second slash was because I was scared of something. And that something is the next problem. So remember how I said how Yamato Combo C, like the more you mash the attack button, the longer that slash barrage will be, right? And how you only want the Doppelganger to like use Yamato Combo C for a short time. So you just press the attack button once or twice, maybe thrice, but don't mash the attack button. Because what happens if you mash the attack button? What happens is the Doppelganger keeps using Yamato Combo C, and he keeps using that flurry of slashes, and by the time he finishes Yamato Combo C and blows the enemy away, Vergil will have already finished using Yamato Combo A. So let's analyze some of these examples, all right? And let's see what I was doing wrong. So as you can see here, look at Vergil. So I press the time only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I don't stop mashing. I am mashing it like a maniac after changing the Doppelganger's mode. And as you can see, I finish Yamato Combo A before the Doppelganger finishes Yamato Combo C, because I was mashing like a maniac, and the Doppelganger was like, oh, okay, I got you, Chief. I'm going to mash like a maniac too. So he did Yamato Combo C for a very long time. He did the long version of the slash barrage, right? So that's basically something can happen. It doesn't matter when I change his mode. All that matters is that I was mashing like a maniac well after the second slash of Yamato Combo A. All right. Another example right here. So 1, 2, 3. After the fourth hit, before the fourth hit, I changed the mode. And I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, bro. And it doesn't work. Obviously. And again, another example right here. I'm mashing the attack, but I change the Doppelganger's mode, and I keep mashing it. First slash comes out. Second slash comes out. I'm still mashing like a maniac, bro. And I end up finishing Yamato Combo A too early. So that's what ends up happening. So, again, look at this. I am just mashing the attack, but I don't stop. I give no fucks, bro. I'm just mashing like a maniac. And as a result, this happens. This is why in the previous example, in the previous issue, I was so afraid. I was like, oh, wait, I don't want to mash the attack button too much, so I gotta stop. And then I will make that pause and I'll come back to it for that final slash. But I miscalculated. The pause I made was too long, and the final slash of Yamato Combo A wouldn't come out. But here, I mash like a maniac. The slash does come out, but since I mashed like a maniac, the Doppelganger ended up using Combo C, like the long slash barrage, and he blew the enemy away towards Vergil way too late. This is the most frequent issue in the second part of the combo. Or, well, it was. Until I learned to, until I kind of mastered my muscle memory, kinda. Now, my main issue that I still encounter while trying to do this combo is the reverse. Now, what could the reverse of this issue be? You might be wondering. And I will be happy to tell you and show you. So, check this out, bro. In all of these examples, what ends up happening is Vergil's Doppelganger ends Yamato Combo C way too early, and he blows the enemy away towards Vergil before I can even do the last slash of Yamato Combo A. So in the previous example, it was the opposite. It was like I'm mashing like a maniac. Vergil ends up using Yamato Combo A too early, before the Doppelganger can blow the enemy away towards him with Yamato Combo C. But now it's the opposite. Vergil's Doppelganger ends Yamato Combo C way too early before I can actually use the final slash of Yamato Combo A with Vergil. But, you know, the previous example was more or less easy to explain. It's because I was mashing like a maniac, right? I was mashing way too much, and as a result, the Doppelganger copied my inputs, and he ended up using the long version of Yamato Combo C, which took him a while to, like, blow the enemy away, blah, 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 it doesn't matter. But here, you gotta think, why does this happen? The only logical explanation is I probably pressed the attack button only once, and the Doppelganger finished Yamato Combo C way too early. But that's sometimes what you want. So it's like, huh? Like, what? Oh, I'm fucking insane, bro. Man, I'm losing my voice, bro. Okay, so just like with the successful attempts, I want you to pay attention to Vergil and not the amount of times I press the attack button. So I guess don't pay attention to my mouse. Or do. I don't know. Whatever is easier for you. Like, you just know that in all of these instances, just like with the successful attempts, I press the attack button 5 or 6 times before changing the Doppelganger's mode. Alright, that's the only thing you need to know. Alright, so look at Vergil. First example. 1, 2, 3, and during the third hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode from haste to slow. Then I press the attack button 1, 2 times, and I make a pause, right? And this is normal. Vergil does the first big slash, the second big slash, and during the second big slash, I press the attack button 3 more times. But it's too late. Bro, we have had examples where I change the Doppelganger's mode after, I don't understand. Why did this happen? You know we've had successful attempts that were just like this. Alright, another example. Right after this, it's identical. It's the same exact thing. So, let's see. 1 hit, 2 hits, 3, 4, and before the 4th hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode, right? And I press the attack button 1, 2 times, I make a pause, first slash, second slash, and after the second slash, I press the attack button thrice. Nope. Too late. Too late. I don't understand how. How was this too late? I don't get it. Alright, moving on. Next example. So, it's the same exact thing, by the way, all 3 of these examples. So, let's see. 1, 2, 3, and like during the third hit, I change the mode, and I press the attack button 1, 2 times, and I make a pause. The first big slash comes out, second big slash, and I press the attack button again 3 times. Nope. Way too early. Like, the Doppelganger finished Yamato Combo C way too early. So, yeah. And if you want to pay attention to my attack button, in all of these examples, like if you look at my mouse, I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, I change the mode, I press the attack button 1, 2 times, and I make a pause. And then, after the second big slash comes out, I press the attack button 3 more times. And we've had countless successful attempts where I used this exact same pattern, but for some reason here, it wasn't successful. It wasn't successful. I swear to God, like, look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, and like, as soon as I start the 4th hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode, and I press the attack button 1 more time, and I make a pause. The first slash comes out, second slash comes out, I press the attack button 3 more times, and it doesn't work. Okay, for this one, I can maybe understand it because I pressed the attack button only once. But I think we've had examples where I pressed the attack button only once, and it still worked. Or maybe I'm tripping. I don't know, bro. But I guess the main problem here is not pressing the attack button enough. I should have pressed it more, like 2 to 3 times. But then I would have run the risk. I would have been running the risk of, the other issue happening of mashing too much, you know? So how do I know what to do? Okay, moving on, more examples. Okay, so here we can see, okay, well, let's pay attention to my attack button now. Maybe that's easier. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I change the mode, and after changing the mode, I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times, and it... How the fuck did this not result in that other issue, bro? This should have resulted in the Doppelganger using Yamato Combo C too late. It should have resulted in him using the long barrage, like the one where he doesn't blow the enemy away in time. If anything, I should have done Yamato... What? How? Maybe it's because I made a small pause, I feel. Let's look at that again. So I change the Doppelganger's mode, and I press the attack button 1 time, and I make a small pause. And then I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Maybe it's that small pause that I made. That one small pause was enough for the Doppelganger to go, oh, I got you, Chief. You only press the attack button once. I think that's what might be happening, because I pressed the attack button once after changing the mode, and I made a small pause, and then I started mashing the attack button like a maniac. The way I see it, after changing the Doppelganger's mode, you're supposed to press the attack button 2 to 3 times, and then stop mashing, and then continue mashing after the second slash comes out, the second big slash. But, alright, let's look at some more examples. Like, brother, I don't even know at this point. So, let's look at this. I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I change the mode 5 times. After changing the mode, I press the attack button 1, 2 times. I make a small pause. 3, I make a pause. And 4, what the hell? Okay, that was horrible. My voice is, I can't do these impressions anymore. Oh man, what? I'm not even gonna say anything. Like, I'm literally not even gonna say anything. Let's just move on, bro. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I change the mode and I press the attack button 1, 2 times. I make a pause, and then I press the attack button 2 more times, and this should have worked. This should have worked. Wait, let's look at the amount of, like, not my mouse, but let's look at Vergil. So, 1, 2, 3, and like, before starting the 4th hit, I change the Doppelganger's mode, and I press the attack button 1, 2 times. The first slash comes out, the second slash comes out, and I press the attack button 2 more times, but it's not enough. Huh? Maybe I should have pressed the attack button faster? What? Moving on. Oh my god, bro. Oh my god, brother. I'm at a loss right now. Okay, so man, so look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so before starting the 3rd hit, I changed the mode. That's kind of unusual. And then I press the attack button 1, 2 times. I make a pause. Second slash comes out. I think I took too long. I think the issue with this example and the previous example was I took too long before pressing the attack button for that final slash. I delayed it. I was running the risk of that final slash not coming out, actually. I think that's what happened. But let's look at some more examples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm looking at my attack button. After pressing the attack button 5 times, I change the mode, and I press the attack button 1, 2 more times. First slash comes out, second slash comes out, and once again, I think the problem here was I pressed the attack button for the final time way too late. I think the issue here isn't only, like, mashing the attack button, not mashing it enough. I think the issue here sometimes is that I delay that final slash by a lot. I make a pause that is too long before, you know those 2 big slashes that's actually one press of the attack button? Yeah, I think I wait longer than I should to use that final slash, and as a result, it's delayed, and as a result, I can't hit the enemy in time. Let's look at some more examples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I change the mode. and now I press the attack button only one time, I make a pause, and I press the attack button okay, this time I didn't delay the slash, it's just that I think I didn't mash the attack button enough, it was only once. I only pressed it once after changing the mode. Alright, moving on. So here you can see how, let's look at Vergil. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I change the mode and I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'll make a pause now, and it takes me too long. I make a pause before I use that final slash, and it doesn't work properly. Also, it could be because I was mashing a lot, to be honest, so yeah. Here, let's see, I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times. I change the mode, and I press the attack button 1, 2 times. First slash comes out, second slash comes out, and I don't delay. I press the attack button in time, and it still doesn't work. I seriously have no idea why this didn't work. Like, I changed the Doppelganger's mode, and I pressed the attack button twice after changing the mode, then I made the pause, and after the second big slash of Yamato Combo A, I resume mashing. I press the attack button one more time, and I don't think I delayed that final slash. But at the same time, you can't say that I wasn't mashing long enough because I didn't press the attack button once, I pressed it twice. So I have no idea what gives. Here you can see I press the attack button 4, 5, change the mode 1, 2... And yeah, I think I delayed that final slash. I don't know. I'm just not gonna deal with this anymore, I think. Okay, a few more examples. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I change the mode, press the attack button 1, 2 more times. Second slash comes out, and I use the final slash way too late. I should have pressed the attack button earlier here. Alright, so moving on, another example. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I change the mode, and after changing the mode, I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times, 6 times. Like, how did this not result in the Doppelganger? This should have been the reverse. The Doppelganger should have been mashing that Yamato Combo C for like ages. I didn't make any pause. Look, I changed the mode and I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 times. The Doppelganger should have been using Yamato Combo C. It should have been resulted in that other issue. And finally, we got the last one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Change the mode. I press the attack button 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Again, this should have resulted in the Doppelganger using Yamato Combo C, like, not blowing the enemy away in time. Oh, and there's yet another bonus issue you can encounter that I haven't mentioned yet. So as you can see here, I did everything perfectly, and now I start the second part of the combo, and everything was going perfectly well until Vergil's Doppelganger blew the enemy away in a completely random direction. And I couldn't hit them with Yamato Combo A. Now, this happens when Vergil and the Doppelganger are misaligned. They're not facing, they're not in the same, you know what I mean? Like, whatever. You know, this can definitely happen. Usually it happens if you if you summon the Doppelganger before, you know what? Fuck you, bro. I'm not even going to say why this happens. I don't even know why this happens. That's the truth of the matter. So the thing is, I don't really know what more to say. Oh, right, there's one more thing. You'll notice how how the enemy falls to the ground here. During that, before the Doppelganger hits them with the Yamato Combo C / barrage. I haven't mentioned this because this is already input intensive, but you want to throw a couple of Mirage Blades at the enemy during this second part of the combo to prevent the enemy from falling to the ground. Otherwise, they will most certainly fall to the ground before the Combo C / barrage. And you can see so many examples where I did the combo perfectly, almost perfectly, but the enemy fell to the ground during the Combo C barrage, and I couldn't upload that. I couldn't live with myself. So you gotta throw a couple of Mirage Blades at the enemy You might want to mash, maybe. The reason I haven't even included this is because this combo, like, you already got to pay attention to the Doppelganger. You got to pay attention to Vergil. You got to have perfect timing. You got to know when to make the pause, when to resume mashing, how many times, everything, bro, everything, when to lock back on. I can't torture you guys, that's reserved for me. So, yeah. Throw a couple of Mirage Blades at the enemy during the combo C/barrage. Otherwise, they will fall to the ground. Okay, that's gonna do it for this video, guys. I don't know how I'm gonna edit this. Honestly, I'm recording this in I don't know. This might just be the worst analysis I've ever done. And I still have to analyze the circle combo. Luckily, that will be a breath of fresh air. I cannot wait to end things on a positive note. Hopefully, I seriously want to retire. I have so many videos I want to make on different topics. Please, everybody, I'm begging you, stop coming up with all these insane setups that I have to replicate. Please, I no longer wish to do this. I'm tired, bro. And my OCD is killing me. I gotta do it every time I see it. This combo is pure muscle memory, bro. That final instance, to me, you gotta have the timing for it. I don't know how to explain a lot of these things. I think I know, in my brain, I feel like I know why it's happening. I feel like it has to do with some micro pauses or the doppelganger mode change or how fast I mash the attack button, but I can't explain it, That's the most agonizing part about all of these combos, all these setups where the doppelganger's combo overlaps with Vergil's combo, and then you change the mode and you do all these things, and I don't know. I cannot recommend this combo in good faith. I can. My friend Cad, he did this like in under 5 minutes, and he didn't have any issues at all. It took me like 8 hours. No, okay, it took me like 4 hours, but I didn't do it properly. I don't know if you noticed, but the original version, I already said this, I think. The original version I uploaded, I scrapped it because I noticed that the knockback wasn't good enough. I was mashing the attack button too long during that combo C barrage, and I almost ended Yamato combo A too early. So I did another version where the knockback was perfect. My OCD got me. Yeah. Maybe you won't find this combo difficult at all, just like my friend didn't. And, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I'll be analyzing the circle combo next, I promise. That's going to be fun. It's going to be a joy to analyze. It's a very simple combo, relatively. This combo is also simple, but you need muscle memory. And explaining things that require muscle memory, that's beyond the scope of my ability, bro. I'm sorry. It's like having to explain judgment cuts and how to, you can't. You can't. The issues you can encounter with this combo are there's so many of them, and I don't know. That's I'm gonna leave you with this compilation of successful attempts. For the second part of the combo, I don't really care about the first part. That's kind of easy, more or less. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this video. I'm gonna go make myself some tea or something because my throat is killing me, bro. See ya and peace out. Have a good one.
I'll cut you in two. I'll cut you in two. Die. I'll cut you in two. 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 Die. I'll cut you in two.